Your journey is unique and fascinating. Black British, a priest, Nigerian ancestry, LGBTQ activist, the founder of the Pastor House of Rainbows. You were honoured in 2007 Man of the Year by UK's Black LGBT People of Faith. It's a great honour to have you here on Black History Month. Welcome, Revd Jide Macaulay.
Thank you so much.
I was just wondering about what was it like you growing up in your generation?
I'm coming to my 57th birthday. Growing up in my generation takes me back many decades. I was born in London but raised in Nigeria. So growing up queer in Nigeria is something that was obscure. It was clearly invisible. But I have always known that I'm gay when I was about 5 years old. But there are certain circumstances in my own life journey that I remember very well. When I was 9 years old, my grandmother from my mother's side, she clenched her fist and punched me in the chest. And she said, "Stand like a boy, that no grandchild of her will be a sissy." I remember crying and I ran to my mother. My mother embraced me and said, "Don't worry, Grandma don't understand. It's okay." So, and of course, there are things as well. I was very effeminate. I prefer soft play and gentle activities, because I also have siblings, my brothers, on my older brother and my younger brother, both of them like football. I don't. And, those things are not necessarily indicators or stereotypes of my sexuality. It's just something that allowed me to understand myself in that generation. I was born in 1965, and of course, growing up in the 70s and the 80s is very different, especially in Nigeria.
Which were your greatest difficulties to break through the barriers of being, one, a black man, gay, or both?
I would say it's actually both. To break through the barriers of racism, as a gay man, it's difficult. To break through the barriers of racism as a black man is also very, very difficult. It was in London, when I came to London in my late teenage years, is when someone told me, "You're a black man." No one told me in Nigeria that I was a black man. I was a black African man, and it didn't matter. But then again, it was also in England that I struggled more with my sexuality more than I did growing up in Nigeria, because it wasn't an issue in Nigeria, because I hadn't had a better understanding of my sexuality growing up in Nigeria. When I came to England, it was difficult. And of course, I went through years of challenges around my sexuality. And when I finally came out as gay, there were little or no resources for black gay people. So everywhere I go, even the church that I went to was mostly white gay people. I'm thinking, maybe black people are not gay after all. But the reality is because there were no visible resources for black and gay people, so that made it really difficult. Racism plays a lot, even within the queer community in England. There's still a lot of racism within LGBT spaces, but we have to do the work to create those safe spaces for black LGBT people and other people of color.
When you became an ordained priest, how did it change you emotionally?
I truly and honestly believe that, I have come by God's grace to occupy a place. I've come by God's grace to occupy a position that other people who are black, young people who are black and gay, will be able to look up and say, there is a black gay priest. So I can be a priest as well. I have come in a way that I felt that it is important for me to take ownership of this pastoral care for others, to ensure that, Black queer children and their families can approach me as a minister in order to help them on their own journey as well.
What is your vision for inclusion and diversity within the Anglican Church?
My vision and my hope is that there will be spaces for Black queer people in the church to flourish, that no one will be forced into the closet. No one will be forced, to choose, not to be themselves. Because that difficulty is there. If you cannot be yourself in church, then where else can you be yourself? I've often said that no one has a monopoly to the presence of God. If that is the case, then why do we still feel that we need to be locked up in the closet of our mind? How can we respond to that pastoral care? How can we even preach a sermon that excludes us? How can we minister to people when we cannot minister to ourselves? How can we be loved when we are denied love? And I have a great hope for the church, and that is why I hang on, because I know that Christ is calling on the church. Christ is calling on the people to respond, because there are so many queer people that want to be part of the church or want to be visible and celebrate all of who they are. But so far, the church is denying the people, but the people are not denying God. We want to be. We want to be part of this community. We want to be part of the Christian family.
And you are part of the Christian family. And it's been a great honour to be able to interview you.
Thank you so much.